2,500 of them are carved by hand, and I carved 500 of them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and we're going to carve a pumpkin, and we're going to have some fun. And I'm just so pleased to get to see you, because since April I've been sitting on my couch with 500 of my closest pumpkins. And now I get to see real faces. And seriously, been thinking about you since April, because they said, well, we'd like to have you to do pumpkin carving demonstration. And I'm like, there are people that want to watch me carve a pumpkin? So we'll see how it all goes. If the roller coasters are calling your name, please go have fun. But here's a little story. My name is Barry Brown. I come from Denver, Colorado. But when I was young, I came from a spooky little town called Erie, Colorado. And it was surrounded by pumpkin fields and corn fields and chicken ranches. I mean, it was rural. They had a street. And a little blinky light. A little blinky light at the intersection, you know? So on this side of the street was the K through 6, and on that side of the street was the 7 through 12. And I believe it was in 5th grade I remember carving my first pumpkin all by myself. Oh, I just love it. I just love pumpkins. They're so fun to feel, and the color is amazing, and the bountiful shape and all of that stuff. It's just so much fun. So, 5th grade, let's see. I had my pumpkin early. Like, I kept it in my room. And I put a little paper hat on it and a little paper mustache. And I was fascinated to think, it's my own pumpkin. I can do anything I want to on it. So I just imagined what it could be. And then when it came carving time, I went to the kitchen and opened up my mom's kitchen drawer, and I found a little paring knife. Like maybe you'd peel a potato with this little tiny knife, you know? So I carved a half moon with a smile on its face. It had to be something fancy. You can tell over in my pumpkin booth over there, it has to be fancy. That's kind of the rules. So when you cross the street to go to 7th grade with the big kids, it's kind of a big deal. So here's what I learned. It was in the fall when school started, and they call it homecoming. And what the big kids do is they go out to the pumpkin fields and they take their pickup trucks and load up the pickup trucks with pumpkins, and then they go back to the school and stack them up against the doors. And the next morning is unofficial ditch day for the seniors. They don't have to go to school, but they have to take the pumpkins back to the pumpkin field. And that's the excitement of Erie, Colorado. What do they call this part of the pumpkin right here? The stem, that's right. I had some guests here a couple days ago from the South, and they said, that's called the stem. The stem, and one person called it a stalk. Like, a what? A stalk. Oh, a stalk. A stalk. Okay. Where I come from, they call it the handle. Some people call it the handle, right on. Or the lid. I just call it the top, because as you can see in my booth, I carve all over the pumpkin, up and down and every which way. So I don't want anything in the way of my artwork. So I open the pumpkin from the bottom. This is a carving saw. It was invented by Mr. Carving Kit's dad in Racine, Wisconsin in 1946. He was a safety engineer, and he wanted to figure out a safer way for his kids to carve pumpkins. So he went into his garage and he got a jigsaw blade and he stuck it in a cork. That was the first pumpkin carving saw. So if you have 10,000 hours of carving pumpkins and you are a master pumpkin carver with cat-like reflexes, this is how you start your pumpkin. But only if you have 10,000 hours, because that's a really silly way to start. The saw is strong when it's straight up and down, but it's bendy when it's sideways. So you carefully insert your saw, straight up and down, and then you saw very gently around the bottom of your pumpkin. So now is time to reveal the first secret of pumpkin carving. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Yeah. The first secret is, don't try too hard. That's the first secret. Can you say it with me? Don't try too hard. Very good. When I see people trying too hard, it looks like this. They got that look on their face, and their hand hurts, and they're using about 2 teeth out of this saw. Has anyone used a hand saw before to cut like a piece of wood or a branch or anything? You can't force a saw. You have to let the saw do the work. So just like a pumpkin saw, you have to let all those teeth take a bite. I'm gonna move my pumpkin so that that part is at the very top, because here's the second secret of pumpkin carving. Ready for the second secret?
Yes.
The second secret is straight up and down. Got it? Let's say it together. Straight up and down. Good. What's the first secret of pumpkin carving? Don't try too hard. The second secret, straight up and down. That's right. So you carefully insert your saw. Wait a minute, where's my other piece? That's my North Pole. So I carefully insert my saw, and I just want to practice up and down. I don't want to go forward. I don't want to try too hard. I'm just practicing straight up and down. The saw blades are coated with Teflon so that when they get moving, it's called maximum lubrosity. I know, that's a $20 word right there. So you practice that up and down, and then don't try, but just move forward. Let all of those teeth bite through the pumpkin. The inside of the pumpkin is bigger than the inside of the pumpkin. So what happens when you push a big thing through a little thing? It could get stuck, you could break something. One lady in the crowd said, "A baby!" And that was the end of that demo. So what you want to do is put your hand inside and wiggle that piece up and down, real gentle. It might have a little hitch on it. It might not be carved all the way through. So if you wiggle it gently, it might unhitch. Or you might find that place just to carve it again. But you push it out through the pumpkin. Oh, I heart pumpkin. And you put it back in the pumpkin. When you're done carving all your pieces and you put them back in, then you shake it out over the trash, and just like you guys, I display my pumpkin on a plate. Isn't that what you do? You put it on a plate? Okay, here's the experiment. Carve your pumpkin, and then go put it outside. Now come back inside and make yourself a sandwich. Cut that sandwich in half. You're gonna save half of that sandwich for tomorrow by putting it outside on the porch. What? How are you gonna save that half a sandwich for tomorrow? Put it in the fridge, maybe wrap it up in plastic. Pumpkins aren't magic, they're just fruit. So if you put a piece of cut food out on the porch, I'm not sure if you're expecting some magic to happen, but if you put it on a plate, that'll help it last a little bit longer, 2 or 3 days. If you put it on the concrete or the dirt, the water will start to wick away from the pumpkin. If you put a candle in a fresh pumpkin, you want to put the candle to the side a little bit, and it'll burn a little bit of the roof of the pumpkin. Then you cut around that place and take that piece out. It's like a chimney. So the heat will go up more directly out of the chimney instead of out of your carving, and that'll help your pumpkin last a longer time, 2 or 3 days. People ask me how to keep squirrels off pumpkins. That's a big deal in Colorado. They say, "Barry Brown, master pumpkin carver, 10,000 hours of pumpkin carving experience. You must know how to be able to keep squirrels off pumpkins." I do. Would you like to know how? Okay, here it is. You ready? Squirrels live outside. You're welcome. So if you display your pumpkin inside, no squirrels. And when you're done enjoying it, wrap it up in plastic, put it somewhere cool. It'll help it last a little bit longer, 2 or 3 days.